Allied forces blast through Kuwait towards the capital. An Iraqi Scud attack kills American soldiers in Saudi Arabia, and tens of thousands of Iraqis are surrendering in the desert. This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting live with American forces in Dhahran, Saudi Arabia. Good evening. Saddam Hussein tonight ordered his forces to withdraw from Kuwait. Baghdad radio says the decision was made, quote, in accordance with the Soviet peace plan, unquote. That's a plan already rejected by President Bush and the American allies. Baghdad radio quoted an official spokesman as saying that in compliance with Saddam Hussein's decision, and again I quote, orders were issued to the armed forces for an organized withdrawal to the positions in which they were before the 1st of August 1990, unquote. First reaction from the White House, the war goes on. Let's go down to correspondent Bob Fall at the United Nations. Well, we've been unable to get Bob Fall up at the UN for just the moment, so let's go to the White House for the reaction to this announcement that Saddam Hussein is now ordering his troops to withdraw from Kuwait. Wyatt?
Dan, as far as the White House is concerned, this offer is going nowhere. White House spokesman Marlin Fitzwater just moments ago said that because this did not involve official contact between Iraq and the United Nations, that quote-unquote the war goes on. What came out of here, Dan, a very clear signal that Iraq can do as it's tried to do this afternoon, and that is surrender again on Soviet terms all they like, but it won't matter here at the White House. Fitzwater reiterated that the president's ultimatum of last Friday is still on the table, but he interpreted that to mean that Iraq must now publicly say yes to all 12 United Nations resolutions in addition to pulling their troops out of Kuwait. Dan, there's just a simple feeling here that now that the war has been joined, now that that Scud was launched today, 500 oil wells on fire, there'll be no negotiations, no benefit of the doubt. Dan?
Again to Bob Fall at the United Nations.
Dan, the president of the Security Council, when told of the Baghdad radio report, said it was welcome news indeed. If it's true, hinted the Security Council would meet soon thereafter. But the Saudi ambassador said it is too little, too late, and a Kuwaiti representative said, let's not get too excited over something we hear over Baghdad radio. Earlier in the day, there was a great deal of activity here when the Soviet ambassador said Iraq would favor the coalition proposals for a ceasefire, but after a short informal session, it became clear the government of Iraq could do no such thing, could only second what had been worked out in Moscow, nothing more, leaving a slightly miffed British ambassador to conclude that the Russian ambassador didn't know what he was talking about. Dan?
Thanks, Bob. Could be the reason that Saddam has ordered the pullout has something to do with the military situation on the ground. David Martin at the Pentagon.
Well, Dan, the U.S. Army is now carrying 6 Iraqi Army divisions as destroyed by the fighting of the past 2 days. But the Iraqi Army can still retreat. The Iraqi Army is not surrounded. It can go north if it wants to. The bridges are down. Air power could do great damage to them. But officials here have said repeatedly the U.S. is not going to shoot retreating Iraqi soldiers in the back.
Tonight's ploy by Saddam Hussein followed another day of Allied advances on the ground and terrorist counterattacks by the Iraqis. With Allied forces advancing steadily through Iraq and Kuwait, Saddam Hussein struck back with his terror weapon today. A Scud missile tore through a building housing American soldiers in eastern Saudi Arabia. The casualties were more than double what Americans have suffered in the invasion itself. In Iraq and Kuwait, 4 Americans officially are listed as killed, 21 wounded. In Kuwait, the armies and Marines that rolled in with no resistance yesterday were slowed today by artillery and tank fire.